to another edition of Beginning Strings. This one is featuring the bow. Now I recommend that when you're learning the bow, to learn the bow separate from your instrument. Your brain is going to be so focused on reading the correct notes, on placing your fingers in the correct spot, that you will not have extra time to think, am I holding my bow correctly? And usually what happens is bow hands get crazy, and then we have to spend weeks and weeks fixing the bow hand. So again, I recommend learn the bow separately from trying to learn where the notes are. So the first couple of steps are just trying to hold the bow correctly. Then we'll talk about how to make a good sound on the instrument. Step 1, let's remind ourselves, when we place our thumb into our hand, it's going to go into that lowest knuckle, and we'll rotate right there in between the second and third finger. When that happens, then we lower the fingers, and we've got ourselves a little hand puppet here. The sideways view looks like so. You'll notice that the thumb is circular, and you can see that I have angles, and you'll see that I have round angles in all of my fingers. Here's my thumb locked, and here are my fingers straight. That's no good. Relax those knuckles, keep that thumb curved. Alright, then we place the bow inside that position. So in between your fingers and thumb goes the bow. Well, let's talk about where we should place our fingers on the bow. Remember, there are a lot of teachers out there, and they all have slightly different ways to teach it. These are just ideas that I'm sharing with you. Other teachers, if you're taking lessons, they might have different ways to place the fingers on the bow, and that's okay. If you go on YouTube, you'll see so many different ways to play these instruments on a professional level. So I encourage you that whatever you do, you're trying to find a way that allows you to make a really great sound without having tension or discomfort in the hand. So here we go. We're going to take our ring finger and we're going to place it on the dot, which is right there on the frog. Then we're going to take our middle finger and we will place it at the very end of the frog. You'll see the frog has a little mouth here, and we'll just place it right there. Okay. Now that means that we're now leaning towards our first finger. Our first finger leans down towards the leather that's placed in between the frog and the wiring. Ring finger on the dot, middle finger at the end of the frog, and then we lean down right at the edge of the lever. Notice how my pinky went up in the air. Well, we're going to relax the pinky and we'll place it on the stick before the tension screw. We don't want our pinky going all by itself. Come on in, buddy. There we go. Now, looking at where the thumb goes, you'll see that in the bow, there is space between the frog and the leather. A small little piece of wood is shown between the frog and the leather. That is where I like to place my curved and round thumb. So if you take a look, we definitely create some sort of oval or circle, and it is not collapsed and flat. You'll see that it is open and it is round, and that I have flexibility in all of the fingers. Now, some of you teachers out there, if you're watching this, you might say, he's using his left hand. Well, that's because I've trained myself to mirror everything, just so it's easier for students to replicate what they see. Now, some students might think to themselves, whoa, I'm going to switch this video on my brain. So I do want to remind everybody, the correct hand to hold the bow is, of course, with your right hand. But I wanted to make sure that you could see the setup, the way it comes off the screen, the way you're experiencing it wherever you are in your home. So here it is with the right hand, the correct hand. And here it is as a demonstration with my left hand, so that you can mirror the angles and make sure that your fingers are going the same direction as mine. Okay. If we place that bow straight up and down, you'll feel that there's almost no weight anywhere. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much pressure should you use? 1. If I let go any more, the bow will slide down out of my hand. That's right. That's how little pressure I use to hold the bow. Just imagine you're texting, and when you're texting on a phone, you don't slam your thumbs into the keyboard even if you're angry. It takes the slightest touch to have a text message appear on your screen. It's the same idea here. It is gentle, it is delicate. That way we have flexibility in our hand, and also instead of crushing the bow onto the instrument, we're able to pull sound out of the instrument. It'll be more resonant and more beautiful. Those are my suggestions for the bow hold. If you hear something different from another teacher, what I recommend is that you share that with me so we can talk about some of the advantages of either direction that you choose to hold that bow. Have a great day, and please remember, don't touch the bow hair. But if you practice every day, by the end of the year, you'll be taller.